Well, yes, it's the governor versus state government face-off in the state of Kerala. The government of Kerala has tabled a contentious universities law bill in the assembly to replace the governor as the chancellor of universities and appoint eminent academicians in the top post. The bill was introduced by Law Minister P. Rajiv in the House amidst continuing tussle between Governor Arif Mohammad Khan and Pinarayi Vijayan government over various issues, primary among them being the appointment of vice-chancellors in varsities. The opposition Congress raised a handful of objections against it, saying it would face legal issues if passed in the present form without modifications. So here is an important issue that we would like to have an expert opinion on. I'm joined in the program by Mr. Sanjay Hegde, Senior Advocate from the Supreme Court. Very good evening, sir. Thank you for joining us on Nation Tonight. The Pinarayi Vijayan-led government, like you just heard, has tabled this bill seeking removal of governor as a chancellor. At this point in time, the Congress, interestingly, has also opposed the move. The Congress has gone to the extent of saying that by that logic, even a CPIM party local secretary can be made a chancellor if the governor wishes. And therefore, the opposition is up in arms against this. It's simply not just, in that sense, a governor versus Pinarayi Vijayan issue anymore.
Well, the issue is still the question of whether it is necessary for the governor to be the chancellor of every university in a state. It is more by convention that the governor is designated as the chancellor, or the state university acts provide for. The state university acts come within the legislative competence of the state, and the state may well be within its competence to say, as far as its own universities are concerned, they will have different chancellors for different universities. That seems to be what the current Kerala government is proposing. I do not exactly know the basis of the Congress's objections, but the Congress is the opposition party in Kerala, not the BJP, and the Congress would have its own reasons for opposing whatever the Kerala government does. As far as the legal issue is concerned, there is nothing in the constitution which says that the governor has also to be appointed as the chancellor of all universities.
Now, since you asked that, what is the contention that Congress is making? The Congress is saying, and, here I'm just presenting their arguments for more clarity from your end, if that, holds good as an argument. Because what the Congress is saying that, the left have often been saying the governor is trying to saffronize universities. And now through this proposed bill, you are trying to turn it into a Marxist domain. In the sense, having control over these positions, direct control, direct influence in the appointment of university chancellors would also, in a way, amount to excess or overreach of the executive?
Well, that is a political argument, not a legal argument. Because the state of Kerala continues. Tomorrow, there might be a Congress government there. The Congress will then have the powers of appointing the chancellors of the universities, unless they then amend the act and say, no, we'll go back to the old system of the governor. So that, I don't think, is a valid argument legally. Politically, they can say anything. The question ultimately is, normally the executive officer of every university is the vice-chancellor. The chancellor was more a decorative kind of post. And by convention, instead of having several other chancellors, a chancellor who would then, if not be in a ceremonial role, would then want to have powers over the vice-chancellor. To avoid all that, you had the governor as the chancellor. Now, Kerala seems to be wanting another model. Let's see how far the experiment goes. Legally, there's nothing wrong.
Just about Kerala here.
Constitutionally, there's nothing wrong.
Okay, but it's not just about Kerala here. It's the same model everywhere else, isn't it? It's how it is with the governor is by default the chancellor of universities. Now, Kerala wants a change in that system. Can a state unilaterally sort of change it if it wants to?
Of course it can, because that's within the legislative competence of the state. The incorporation of universities falls solely within the state list. there is, and you can't even argue that there is a central list which says for the coordination of educational standards in institutions of higher education. You can't say that educational standards are better coordinated by a governor, or that the governor is presumed to be more knowledgeable than other educational experts. So I don't see where that argument goes.
Yes, I understand you can't say that, but you can certainly say this, that here is a situation where you have a opposition party in power in the state, and the governor, by all accounts and purposes, assumed to be an appointee of the central government, and by that logic, somebody that the ruling party at the center has chosen. So there is this constant tussle. It's not just Kerala, as you know. It's in Bengal, it's in other states, in Tamil Nadu as well. And this is an outcome of that. Isn't that a dangerous precedence, that here you have a tussle with the governor and now you want to change the whole system in a way to defunct or to lower the functionality of the Chancellor?
So you restrict the governor to the Raj Bhavan and take him out of the universities altogether. I mean, that the governor is primarily meant to be in the Raj Bhavan. Confine him there. That is one way of looking at it. And you see, we've had 70 years of a republic and experience in working a constitution. Normally, governors would not be confrontational, even if there was a different party in the center and a different party in the state. It was very rarely that a governor got into confrontations with the state government on a day-to-day basis. And if that happened, the states would ask the president to recall its pleasure as far as the governor was concerned. The governor concerned would be transferred out. Right now, the pattern has changed over the past few years, with governors taking on increasingly activist roles and almost saying that they are emissaries of the center, or they speak for the center. That is not the constitutional scheme. The governor is the first citizen of the state, but like the President of India, they only reign, they do not rule.
No, that is understood. But, here, what happens now then, Mr. Hegde, because the bill will be sent to a subject committee of the Kerala Assembly. It will come back to the floor of the Assembly, where the UDF has the larger numbers. It has 98 members in the Treasury bench. Clearly, the bill will be passed. Now, it will go to Mr. Khan. That is the interesting part. But Mr. Khan apparently has said very clearly, the governor of Kerala, that he will not sit in judgment on an issue that concerns him, and hence it will go to president. How does that work from there on, Mr. Hegde?
Well, the governors in any state have the right of reserving a bill for the president's assent when there is a doubt that that central legislation or central affirmation may be required. Governors also sometimes exercise a pocket veto over legislation. And Mr. Khan has taken that great position that a turkey can't be asked to vote for Thanksgiving. And therefore, he will not take any action beyond sending it to the president.
Yes.
This is more in the nature of optics on both sides.
Yes, but
the
Mr. Hegde,
state
very
assembly
quickly
will have spoken. The state assembly will have spoken.
Yes.
And made its position clear. The governor will send it to the center, and the state will be pursuing the center to give its affirmation or give the presidential assent.
But do you agree that this opens out a Pandora's box? Because this same, system, the same precedence, in a way, may be used by other state governments when it comes to tussles with their respective governors.
Yes, if other state governments have these problems, then it may well be. Now, please look at the situation if the tables were to be turned. Supposing there was another government in the center at a future date, and there were BJP-ruled states. And if the governors there were to say, no, we do not agree, we are going to take over the universities concerned, the BJP-ruled states might also do it.
Right.
I do think that, when a largely ceremonial role goes beyond being ceremonial and gets into active political fights, these kind of things will be the natural outcome.
That is one way of looking at it. The other side would say this is a direct outcome of the friction between the two power centers. It is not in the interest of the universities per se, but it has been a fallout of the
but
friction.
That's the point, isn't it? The governor is not supposed to be a power center.
Okay. We'll leave it at that for now. Sanjay Hegde, thanks very much for joining us
Thank you.
with the important perspectives on the subject.